Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome to another podcast, UNC Hoops Talk podcast. This one titled Late Morning with Dan, in lieu, of course, of Late Night with Roy coming up tomorrow night, Friday, October 3rd. And I'm just so glad that you decided to join me, either live watching it here on YouTube or Google Plus, or listening on demand on iTunes. On the blog, wherever it is. I'm just glad that you've watched or are listening, and that you're a Tar Heel fan. Of course, it always makes a person a better person. Before we get started, I want to throw out, if you are watching live or listening live, to go ahead and leave a comment, leave a question, leave your prediction for the season. On Twitter, just use the hashtag UNC Hoops Talk. On Google Plus, you can use the Q&A app, which I've been hearing there's a few problems with, but otherwise on the events page, on YouTube, leave a comment. I'm hooked up to find all those in real time, and I will definitely address them as they come in. If you're watching this later on iTunes, that means everything is good and we're up. Big announcement is, we have been talking about the iTunes release coming up. It has been submitted to iTunes, just waiting for Apple to get back with the approval, which of course we know will happen. They know they need more college basketball talk and definitely Tar Heel talk on there. So no problems there. Hopefully with it, by the time the next podcast go live, it'll be up already. But this podcast, along with the previous two, will be up on iTunes when it does go live. So definitely go back and check those out. I appreciate that. Definitely leave an iTunes review. That will help the show. It will help me. It'll help other people find it, and you'll just know. Everybody will know you know what you're talking about when you leave that 5-star review. So I appreciate that. I would love for you to do that. If you get the show on YouTube, if that's where you watch it or listen to it, I would love a subscription there. Again, wherever you take in the podcast, I would love for you to leave feedback and let me know, and do what you can to help the show out. So yeah, leave a question, leave a comment, do all those good things. I hope you're pumped. I don't know, my mind is like blown. I can't even believe that Late Night with Roy is tomorrow already. Like, it doesn't feel as hyped as it has been in the past. Which is kind of stinks, but at the same time, I don't think it's the same as it has been in the past. Like, I don't know, there's too much of the silly stuff, I think, not enough focus on the basketball. Really the only reason I want Late Night with Roy is to get it. It's great to see the behind the scenes stuff, see the guys, dance or be silly or whatever. A little bit of that would be fine, but really the only reason I want Late Night with Roy is to see the basketball action, see our freshmen going, see how we're gelling as a team, see Kennedy Meeks in his new body, that kind of stuff. So I believe the only place to actually watch it exclusively is on Go Heels TV or GoHeels.com with a subscription there. I don't have one, so I'll be checking out highlights, get the whole thing hopefully on demand through them. They usually have it on demand, and I will definitely put it up on the blog. If they do that, I'll post a link to it and probably tweet it out as well. So while we're talking about that, I'll just go ahead, give out the ways that you can connect with me if you so desire, which I would love. On Twitter, it's just at @alltarheeldan. On Google Plus, it's just my name, Dan DeWitt. And find the guy in the UNC jersey. That'll be me. Blog, if that's where you consume your Tar Heel news. Again, look for that video of Late Night with Roy. Day or two afterwards. It's unchoopstalk.blogspot.com. Go ahead and shoot me an email if you have suggestions for the show, questions for future shows, topics, anything like that. unchoopstalk@gmail.com. And as I mentioned before, YouTube, it's youtube.com/UNCHoopstalk. And then, of course, as we get that iTunes release coming, I will definitely throw that into the spiel of things that or addresses for you to check out to help support the show. But this week, I say this week is because if you don't know, once the season gets started, this becomes a weekly show. In the off season, I do it once a month. During the season, it's once a week, and we're kind of in between that. The season is getting ready to start, but it's not really here yet. I believe I'm going to do 2 here in October. I'm going to do obviously this one, and then one later October. Just getting ready to ramp things up for the season. I don't know if I'll do every week in November, but by the middle of November when games have started, I will definitely be going full force. So look forward to that, and would love for you to join me. Come on and be a guest on the show. Give your thoughts on a game, or looking forward to a game, anything like that. Love to have Tar Heels on this show, so definitely get at me about that. And any links that I talk about today, anything I mention, links will be in the description on YouTube. It'll be up on the post on the blog, all that good stuff. So definitely check that out. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show, and that is predicting the season, the win-loss record for the season. I just tweeted out a little bit ago for people to give their predictions. If you're looking for just a reference on what the range should be, we have 31 regular season games this year, and then of course it depends how many we play in the ACC tournament and of course the NCAA tournament. But 31 regular season games. I'm going to give my overviews of the record, but also we're going to jump into the games. And I do have my notes here that I jotted down, and I got the schedule pulled up on Googles.com. So we're going to dive in and kind of go through each of the games, or at least in sections. Hopefully not spend too much time on each individual game. That'll take forever. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in to the meat and potatoes, the win-loss record. Now, again, we have late night with Roy on tomorrow night, Friday night, and then we have 2 exhibition games. We play Fayetteville State on the 24th of October, and then Belmont Abbey on the 7th of November. Both exhibition games. I'm going to predict we win those, but really it's not part of my predictions. It's not in the overall records. That's not part of the 31 games that I was talking about for regular season. The regular season for us starts Friday, November 14th against NC Central at home. And some of this non-conference stuff I'm going to lump together really all the way through the season. I'm going to lump some games together and not overkill going through the record here with each game. But we play NC Central, Robert Morris, Davidson the first 3 games. And I put them down all as wins, of course. I think we should be expected to win all those. I do think, Robert Morris and Davidson, it's not the same category as NC Central. As those guys are decent. We saw Robert Morris beat that horrible Kentucky team a couple of years ago in the first round of the NIT. Davidson, obviously with the Steph Curry years, they were really good. They're still not a bad program. Great coach. That one is in Charlotte, which I believe. I don't know exactly where Davidson's located, but I don't think it's a home game for either, but I think they are closer to Charlotte, maybe even in Charlotte. But we know the North Carolina fans will be there. It's still in the state. Should still feel mostly like a home game. I don't think it's on their campus or anything like that, but we are going to win those 3 games as my prediction goes. I'm curious to watch, especially that Davidson game, just to kind of see our first, I don't want to say first test, but first, I don't know, raising up a level, first D1 test, we'll say. And then after Davidson, so we're 3-0 at that point. After Davidson, we go to the Bahamas again, our trip back to the Bahamas for the Battle for Atlantis. And we play on Wednesday, November 26th. This is, the Thanksgiving tournament that we're in this year. We play Butler. I think we should beat Butler. Butler's not the same height they were when they had Brad Stevens, when they had what was his name, Gordon Hayward, that kind of. They're still again a decent program, smart players. They're going to play hard, but we're gonna beat them. And then it obviously gets tricky predicting beyond that because it's a tournament. We could win or lose. Other teams winning, lose. But on Thursday, the day after the Butler game, we play either Oklahoma or UCLA. I predicted it's going to be Oklahoma. But either way, if it's Oklahoma or UCLA, we should beat either of those teams. UCLA, I think, is going to have a down year this year, and I think we should beat either of those teams, which brings us to 5-0, and then it gets even harder on Friday. Again, depending on where we win or lose, and everybody else where they win or lose, we could play UAB, Florida, Georgetown, or Wisconsin. Now, of course, I don't think it's going to be UAB. If it was, it would be interesting, obviously, because they're playing really well, but also we play them at home later in December, about a month later. So that would be interesting to play them twice, but I don't think that's going to happen. Don't think Georgetown's going to get there. I think it's either going to be Florida or Wisconsin. And just to show that I'm trying to do this as unbiased as I can, even though this is a biased podcast, it's all about the Tar Heels. I put that we're going to lose. I think Wisconsin, Florida are going to be really good teams. I think by the end of the year, we're going to be better than both those teams. We're usually more athletic than Wisconsin in any given year. Florida likes to get up and down, but I think Florida would have, really both those teams has more experience than us. Besides Page, we don't have really a guy that's put in a lot of minutes, a lot of what do I want to say, clutch shots, play clutch minutes like that in big games, or really come up clutch. I think with their experience, they could get us. Again, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we keep it rolling, but I put down an L there, maybe just trying to be too unbiased. I don't know. You can tell me what you think, but I put our first loss to be in the championship of the Battle for Atlantis. Although I will say, like when we go to Maui, Roy is very good at pulling out championships in those tournaments. So again, we'll see. So following Battle for Atlantis, we play on Wednesday, December the 3rd against Iowa at home. This is the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Iowa's not going to be real great this year. It's at home. We're going to win that game. We play ECU next. We're going to take some revenge for football this year, and we're going to beat ECU. That's at home again. And then December the 13th, Saturday, we go to Lexington to play the Wildcats of Kentucky. Last year, I predicted we'd lose. We were at home. They were supposed to be this 40-0 team and whatever. We were at home. Obviously, we won. I would rather be wrong and us win the game. And I'm going to keep that going this year. I'm going to predict we lose. It's at Kentucky this year at Rupp Arena. I think we have the advantage here as far as age goes. They do have Willie Cauley-Stein and Poitras coming back, but it's not it's not the age thing, it's not the experience thing, but just being at home, us beating them last year, them actually having a few guys return. I gave them the win again. Maybe it's superstition. I want to be wrong, of course, and us to win that game. Just about it. More than any other game, of course not Duke, but it's a game I definitely want us to win. But I put it down as an L, our second L of the year. Again, we know we're not going to win them all, so we got to have losses somewhere in there. So that is one I predicted. After Kentucky, we play UNC Greensboro. We're going to beat them, and then December 20th, we go to Chicago and we play Ohio State. This is the not Champions Classic. I don't know what they called it. The CBS Sports Classic, I guess, where us and Ohio State, UCLA, and Kentucky are rotating throughout 3 years. And this is our year for Ohio State. We have UCLA next year and then Kentucky the following year. I think we're going to beat Ohio State. I don't think they're going to be anything special this year. I think it's great to get in those big arenas. I love true away games, but the big kind of Final Four atmosphere type games, I love that idea as well. And hopefully it prepares us for something big this year. But we are going to beat Ohio State. I didn't even hesitate putting that one down. Then the 27th of December, we played that UAB game. They beat us last year when we were kind of struggling in the beginning of the year. We're going to beat them. It's at home this year. We're going to take some revenge on them. Hopefully Roy doesn't take it easy at all on Jared Haas over there at UAB. Doesn't try to help him out anymore this year with giving him that W we did last year. But we're going to beat them. Then we got William and Mary. We're going to beat them, and then we get into ACC play. First ACC game is January 3rd. It's at Clemson, so we don't have the streak this year. There's no pressure on that. We're going to beat Clemson at Clemson. Then we go. Notre Dame is at home. Louisville is at home. I think Louisville is going to be down a little bit this year. Not to say they're not bad, or not they are bad, but I think we're going to win both those games at home. Hopefully, we've had a few times in Roy's stint at UNC where we start off conference play pretty slow. We've had 0-2, 0-3 starts. I'm predicting that's not going to happen this year. We're going to win those games. After Louisville, we go to NC State. We go to Raleigh. NC State's not going to be that good this year. We're going to beat them. Then we got Virginia Tech at home. We're going to beat them. Wake Forest at Wake Forest on the 21st of January. We're going to beat them. And then we come home for Florida State. We're going to beat them. Syracuse is at our place on Monday the 26th. I'm guessing that'll be a big Monday game on ESPN. We're going to beat Syracuse at home. And then January the 31st, we go to Louisville, Kentucky. And then February 2nd, we have Virginia at home. And I think those are two kind of interesting games. It's a little, it's a nice little stint. Florida State is never too shabby. They always play us pretty tough. We have Syracuse, Louisville, and then Virginia. Those are kind of 4 games right there, even though 3 of them are at home. Very interesting set of games there at the end of January, beginning of February. But I even zoomed in more on Louisville and Virginia. And I predicted we're going to lose one of those. I didn't predict which one of those. Again, I don't think Louisville is going to be great this year. I don't think they're going to be bad, but I think we can beat them. I think obviously we can beat both those teams, Louisville and Virginia. But again, we're going to lose games somewhere, and so I picked us to lose either the Louisville or the Virginia game. I don't know which one of it is, but out of those 2 games, I think we get 1 loss in there, which would be only our 3rd loss of the season up to this point. So, that would be a good season up to this point, a very good season up to this point. Probably top 10, if not top 5, ranked in the nation, if I'm predicting this correctly. So, after Virginia, we got 3 away games in a row. Again, coming off of that 4-game stint, I guess you could add these 3 in there. Very interesting. We go to BC, to Pitt, and then to Duke. So, we're going to beat Boston College. Pitt, I think we can win it on the road there. They'll play us tough, but I know we can beat them. And then we go to Duke, and again, maybe it's a superstition thing like the Kentucky one, but I don't think we're going to win at Duke. Not that we can't. They're a young team, but by middle of February, it's Wednesday, February 18 is the first Duke game, which is kind of late for the first Duke game. Usually it's the beginning of February. But anyway, by that time their freshmen have kind of grown up. It's at Duke, so I did give us the loss there for our 4th loss of the season. And we kind of have an interesting finish too, because the Duke game is February 18. Georgia Tech is the next game. It's February 21. But we come back and it's like a week and a half, and maybe not even 2 weeks, and we play both Georgia Tech and Duke to finish out the season again. So to play those teams so close together is interesting. But we're going to beat Georgia Tech. That first one's at home. And then we have NC State at home on February 24th. We're going to win that game. North Carolina State's not going to be that good again. We're going to, we'll hear all the our state crap, and then we'll blow them out by 20 or something. Then we go to Miami. I think we're going to beat Miami. They've been down last year, and this year I don't think they're going to be much better. And then, like I said, we finished the regular season, Georgia Tech and Duke. We're going to beat Virginia Tech, even though it's on the road. Although, if you remember last year, we had that interesting trip, snow and all that crap. But we're going to beat Virginia Tech at their place. And then I did put us beating Duke at home. On senior night, I guess it would be Desmond Hubert and Jackson Simmons senior night. But I do have us winning at home. Again, another one that could go. And I guess I did put a question mark by the Georgia Tech and the Duke game, just because we play them both so close together. And obviously Duke is tough for us anytime. But did put a question mark by if we would get another loss there. And so with that question mark, with what I've predicted, it comes out with 31 games, and we're either going to be 26-5 or 27-4. Again, hopefully both those wrong. We have more wins than that, less losses. But and out of those two, of course, we hope it's the 27-4, not the 26-5. But again, can't be exact. So I gave myself two choices there. Don't worry, I gave myself more choices when the NCAA and ACC tournaments are involved. So if you don't like me saying two different things and not being definitive, sorry, but it's only going to get worse for you from here on out. So yeah, ACC tournament. I predicted if we only have 4 or 5 losses, let's see, there was 1, 2, 3 of them in the conference. I figured we'd finish high enough that we would get the kind of double bye. Remember, they're starting on Tuesday now and playing through Saturday. I figured we'd get the double bye, have to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And again, maybe it's just me trying to be too unbiased, but I predicted us losing in the championship game, us going 2-1. So playing the 3 full games, if we did start on Thursday, but playing the 3 full games and losing the championship. Again, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we win the championship and it goes right into a 1 seed, and or even a 2 seed for that matter. But going into the NCAA tournament on a strong note. But the way Roy looks at the ACC tournament, and of course the quality of teams in the ACC, we easily could lose that. So I picked us at 2-1. And then the NCAA tournament, again, it's so hard. You could lose any game, you could win any game. Excuse me. But I said we're at least getting to the Elite Eight. Sorry. And very possibly to the Final Four. It's hard to predict that Final Four because anybody could do it at any time. But so I said we're either going to be 3-1 or 4-1 in the tournament. Of course, when you get to the Final Four, anything could happen. Of course, I'm going to cheer for us to win it all at that point. But again, you never know what's going to happen. So I said 3-1 or 4-1 is my prediction. Get into the Elite Eight at least, possible Final Four. So that gives me kind of 4, depending on if we go to the Elite Eight or the Final Four, messes with our record. And I already had 2 choices for the regular season. So I have kind of a range of 4 records for my overall record for the Tar Heels in 2014, 2015. This is going in the books as official. We'll see how close I am with any of these 4 by the end of the season. Hopefully I'm pretty close because that would be a great season. And again, once we get to the Final Four, you never know what's going to happen. So that, depending on if it's the Elite Eight or the Final Four, gives us around 38 or 39 games if we do play 3 in the ACC tournament. And so my range is either 31-7 or 32-6 if we go to the Elite Eight, or 32-7 and 33-6 if we go to the Final Four. So again, 31-7, 32-6, 32-7, 33-6 are kind of my 4 picks or range for our record this year. I'd love to hear what you think. Tweet at me, email me, however you want to do it. Leave a comment on this video, whatever you want. But send me in if you want to do regular season. We got 31 games. If you want to predict, how far we go in an ACC tournament, I know that stuff's not easy. So, however you want to do it. But I would love to see predictions coming in on what you think we're going to do this season. So please do that. That kind of wraps up my predictions. That's what most of this podcast was around. So hopefully you don't disagree with me or cast me out as a Tar Heel pick too much. But again, send yours in, and we'll see. We'll see who's closer. This one is on video. It's in the books. We can come back and check it at the end of the season. I was pretty darn close. I'm pretty sure I had our loss record exactly on. Not, of course, the right games always, but especially last year. But I did have the loss record right last year. We had 10 losses at the end of the season. That's exactly what I predicted. You can go back and check that as well. So again, like I said, the next podcast we're going to have is going to be in late October. I don't know exactly what day. We have a baby coming. my wife is due November 6th coming up, which this is on the fly, but I was just going to check if we even had a game on that date. I guess November 7th is our second exhibition, so I should have a baby by the beginning of the season, but it kind of depends when the baby comes, when the next show is going to be. But sometime late October, if you'd like to do it, see it live, I tweet out about it before. Follow me on Google Plus, because I usually create this hangout ahead of time. But otherwise, if you're checking on iTunes, it'll be coming. And I just appreciate you listening, whether it's live or not. I just love that you are listening, and I would love the feedback from you. Tell me how you listen, where you listen, what you're doing as you're listening, any of that stuff. Just give me some feedback. I love it. Again, you can always email me, unchoopstalk@gmail.com. Twitter is @alltarheeldan. Blog is unchoopstalk.blogspot.com. I am looking at getting an actual website, but along with iTunes, you have to pay for hosting to get it up on iTunes. You got to pay for hosting for a website. But if you would like to help with the hosting costs, I have a Patreon page. Again, the link will be in the description and up on the blog and all that good stuff. But it's Patreon, patreon.com, and then /UNCHoopsTalk. And if you go there, you can give as little as $1 a month. It's monthly, but anything helps. If you just give $1, it helps. Right now, John B from Google Plus is pretty much covering the iTunes hosting. But once we get into doing a podcast every week, we're gonna have to jump up for more storage for the podcast, and so he won't quite be covering it. And so again, if you can give even $1, give whatever, there's rewards that you can get for it. Not that there's much there, not a whole lot I can give as rewards yet until we really get going. But there's rewards there. You can see what I'm going toward, my goals for the show, and rewards for depending on how much you give per month. But again, give $1 a month, it would be more than enough. I would love that. Huge shout out to John for what he's doing over there. It's just awesome. It blows my mind. And yeah, support the show. Really, there's 3 ways that you can support the show. If you do one of those, I would be more than happy with it. But that is, once iTunes come out, leave a review there. If you get the show on YouTube, to subscribe there and like the videos. Hopefully you do if you're subscribed, or through Patreon, actually supporting with money. But any of those, again, just blows my mind, and I'm so happy and appreciative that you would do that. Check us out later in October. We're coming up with the next podcast, getting ready for the season. Again, if you have suggestions, comments, questions, want to come on the show as a guest and give your opinion and your 2 cents as a Tar Heels fan, connect with me in any of those spots that I mentioned before. That does it for this week. Until next time, go Heels.